Hello everyone again. I'm very excited to be here. Again, my name is Arnuv Mode, but you can just call me Arnuv and I'll be one of the speakers for this presentation. So this was brought to you by me, Astromon, Webob, Ome, and Eli Fisker. And me and Astromon are going to be the ones who are going to speak. So first we're going to talk about navigating around the labs and lab basics. So there are two open vaccine labs this year, the non-modified spike lab and the newer pseudorine lab. So the lab started when India was entering lockdown due to the COVID-19 Delta variant. And they were consideration for mRNA vaccines and high quality sequence that lab designers make can help. So the non-modified spike lab was a modified version of Bugakman's round 7 sequence, the spike sequence, and half-life was recently introduced into both labs, which we will talk about later. The new lab is the pseudorine lab, and Pfizer/BioNTech and Moderna COVID vaccines are made of a variant called pseudorine, which prevents our cells into going haywire. In 2020 studies, Eterna researchers discovered that pseudorine suppresses degradation at sites. So the mission for both labs was simple: find sequences that push half-life to the max using our in-game model. So before we talk about the actual labs, let's get all the new labbers or the old ones who might have forgotten about labs up to speed. So let's explain that first. So to get to labs, first click play and click labs when the options run down. Then click on a lab. So you can just click on these titles up here. So when you enter a lab and scroll down, you will see two buttons on two sections: design and review on the leaderboard in this instance, and the title of the lab, which I clicked on the pseudorine this time. So first, I'm going to talk about the leaderboard. So you access this by clicking the design button on the leaderboard sections. So switch to natural mode and wait for a few seconds and the leaderboard will show up. It is based on eFold and not LPE, which is what the labs use on default, so there's a mismatch between them. We will also talk about this later. Clicking on the designs listed will take you directly to the game design, where you may try and improve metrics such as half-life. Review doesn't really do anything except take you to a description. So on the lab section, design will take you to the design you were last working on, and review will take you to a list of designs that players have submitted. So on the review part of labs, you can copy and modify any design you like by clicking on the design and clicking view copy. You can also comment on the design or delete it if you were the creator of it. There would be a delete button down here. You can also sort by sequence similarity, and it will help you find parent and child designs of that specific design. If you copied and modified someone else's design or used some ideas for them, then please credit them in the name when you submit. So the descriptions up here tell you a little bit about the design, such as important metric improvements or areas that could use a little work on. The review page shows the puzzle ID, title, designer, votes, my votes, description, codon usage, and an actual sequence. So the star button is how you vote. Click on the star next to a design you want to vote on, and bam, that design is one vote. You can unvote by clicking it again. Another way to vote is to press the keyboard Control and click the design in the list to highlight it before voting. You want to vote for designs that are strong in areas, not necessarily high half-life, or designs you would like to see synthesized in a lab. So this is what the pseudorine or pseu lab looks like. It looks complicated with the thousands of bases and terms on the left, but it's not hard when you know the basics. So violations are when the design does not fold correctly or is mutated to the base it shouldn't be. Half-life is the measure of half the hours of the mRNA if it is subjected to a high temperature excursion. The first 14th energy is a measurement of how many bases are unpaired in the first 14 bases. It is thought that the first 14 bases unpaired is good for the mRNA. Branchiness is improved by opening it up, and DEG score is improved by closing it up. Three-way junctions and hairpins are just a count of how many there are of each. Codon usage reads RNA sequences and returns the number and frequency of each codon type. Stackland shows the longest hairpin stem. We will explain the chart and the letters below it also later. To submit, click the Wi-Fi looking button below and fill out a description and title, then submit. You can only mutate to bases that are one of the colors in the ring around the base. So just a quick refresher, this is how OpenVaccine will work. So first, designers will design up to 150 designs by what it seems like for now, August 1st. Then players have up to 8 votes to vote up to 8 different designs. The 8 most top voted designs from each lab, 16 in total, will be tested in a lab. Then we will further analyze the results for publications, labs, or further testing. So does anybody have any questions so far? Why actually only 8 designs voted? I do not know. You would have to ask like Reju or somebody. Does anybody have any questions? Other questions? Yeah. All right, I think I'll move on. So now I'm going to talk about actual lab design strategies in the lab. So the very common strategy in the lab for increasing half-life is the C2U technique because it is the most reliable. While it may be tempting to go about and just switching every single available C to U, that isn't really the best thing to do. As JR said in the lab comments, to maximize half-life, you need to have U's in the right places. If you compare UCAD's 0.5335 design to JR's 0.5332 design, you will see that JR's design has more U's, but less half-life. Don't undo a C to U mutation just because it didn't change half-life. Multiple of these can tip the balance in the side favoring half-life to be larger than before, and it can also further differentiate your design for others. GU is much better than GC for half-life, so it is a good idea to use this technique for increasing half-life. We talked about the common and well-known C2U technique, but there's also another simple technique similar to that one, the A to G technique. The reason this technique is not as well known is because it is a tad bit less reliable. However, the technique still works and you can still increase half-life with it. Like the C to U technique, don't undo an A to G mutation just because it didn't change half-life. Multiple of these can tip the balance in the side favoring half-life to be larger than before, and it can also further differentiate your design from others. A seems to be the most degradable, so mutating A to G generally improves half-life, in theory. So another way to increase half-life in OpenVaccine is to maximize E-fold instead of LFE. So LFE, or linear fold E, is the default engine designers work on. However, the top designs in half-life are from E-fold, another engine. Since the leaderboard is based on E-fold, the maximized designs for E-fold will show. The top designs in the 0.5500 on the leaderboards are only about 0.5200 when we click on them because we click on the LFE version. To switch between the two, click where it says linear fold E and click on Eterna fold or E-fold when the column of options comes down. However, you should mutate an LFE and not E-fold, then check E-fold because E-fold is very slow. It also takes a couple minutes to switch. If it says wait and exit page, don't respond and it will load. So far, the highest LFE design is my 0.5496 in LPE. After you hit half-lives in the 0.5490s in LPE for pseudorine, then you have to go with eFold to carry on for increasing half-life. In the non-modified spike lab, all designs are maximized for LPE. That's why I'm only talking about pseudorine. So let's take a quick look at the current pseudorine leaderboard. This might be a little outdated because I put this on a few days ago. But out of the 25 designs on it, only 5 are made for LPE and 20 use eFold wholly or in part. The 5 designs that are made for LPE are the 25th, 24th, 23rd, 22nd, and 19th ranked designs. As I said before, eFold hasn't been used for the non-modified spike lab. So here are some spots to check when trying to increase OpenVaccine half-life for both labs. So always check around the stop codon, which is on the top left picture. This is an area prone to half-life increases. A more specific spot is around 2190. If 2188 is an A and 2189 is a G, switch 2188 to U and 2189 to a C. Also check where the bottom picture shows. This is also an area that is prone to half-life increases, especially around this area where my mouse is. So violations can seem dangerous and threatening to the RNA design, but that getting one doesn't immediately mean clicking the undo button. To get a violation, you want to first look at the half-life first. If it has went down, there's no point trying to fix it. The end result will probably not be better. However, if the half-life has went up, then try mutating the base or bases around it. It has happened multiple times that after a violation has been made half-life go up and being fixed, the outcome half-life is larger than the half-life before the violation ever took place. Use violations as a tool and a marker and not something you're trying to avoid. An example is above. As you can see, the half-life was 0.4906, then it was an A to U mutation with 0.4908 with 2 violations. Then was fixed with a G to C mutation for a final 0.4907, an increase of 0.0001. So another technique is decreasing the number of branches from loops. So this is a technique that Eli posted in the forum. He increases the design's half-life by making a 5-armed multi-loop into a 3-armed one. He explained that you first identify a multi-loop that you can increase the number of arms of. Then you paint the 2 arms in a way that would force them to match up, such as painting all the bases uracil and adenine, using the freeze button to escape slow calculation. Then you unfreeze and fix the violations and you have smaller multi-loops. The pictures were made when the tool wasn't working. An update enabled another easier way of doing this possible now with jnicol script tool, which Astromon will explain later on. So another technique to increasing half-life is to import part of another design into the one you're working on. For example, if a sequence is 200 to 300 base sequence was very good and you would want it in your design, you need to copy it, use sequence stamper, then put the sequence and the position you want in the white box, and bam, that part of your design is now in yours. As you can see in the picture, the half-life was increased by taking part of the sequence from a design and fusing it with another one. In this case, the half-life improved. So like to get to sequence stamper, you first have to hover on this lightning looking thing and it will show, and then you just got to fill in the sequence, the position, then click OK. So if you're unfamiliar with OpenVaccine or labs in general, here are some suggestions and tips. So number 1, labs take a long time. So this is the number 1 thing every labber needs to know. You're not going to get anywhere if you don't get something you want in 5 minutes. Number 2, teamwork is the dream work. Collaborate and contribute in your own and others' designs. So remember at Eterna, we're trying to make the best designs possible, and that doesn't mean keeping to your own designs. So we want to improve to the designs that would be the most beneficial and highest in metrics. Number 3, make mods and just make sure to credit them. So this is more applicable to newer users who don't really feel comfortable from starting from scratch. You can start with the design that has already been improved. Number 4, ask around if you don't understand something. The Eterna community is very nice and eager to help you out. I personally would have gone nowhere if I hadn't asked for help. Number 5, read forum posts or other forms of information being spread. It will help you a lot. Also check the wiki, Discord, and fandom for more information on tactics. Number 6, save your work or publish before looking at another design. Your progress will be deleted. This is a common way of losing your designs. You can copy the sequence and put it in a safe place such as a Google Doc to prevent this. Number 7, leaderboard isn't everything. Remember, the half-life numbers are just computer simulations. We have no way of knowing that what will happen in real life before we actually test it. Create designs that are outstanding in other ways and consider other metrics. If you happen to vote early, check for new designs that perhaps you wish to vote on prior to the lab's closing. Number 9, if you run out of ideas designing a lab, look to other designs to get more ideas. Also check the descriptions because players often put tactics they use to improve the design. Number 11, join the player development Slack to help with Eterna projects such as COVID-19 and get faster intel on what's happening and also be part of making decisions. Number 12, vote for a diverse range of designs and not just ones with the highest half-life. This goes back to the thing that all the metrics are just computer simulations. So I've said this multiple times before, but if we vote for a wide variety of designs, we have a higher chance of one being successful. Number 12, number 13, don't be worried about filling all the design spots. There are 100 of them. And besides, you can always delete designs that aren't needed afterwards if you want. But remember, you cannot delete designs that have been voted on. Sorry, I meant to say 150. I didn't update this. So now I'm gonna hand it over to Astromon, who's gonna show you some lab design strategy videos. Hey, Astra, you're muted, just saying. Yeah, now it's good.
Okay, I didn't change anything, but as stated above, GU is many times better at half-life than GC. So it's a good strategy to try GU where GCs are. Here's a quick demonstration. I need to get the captions out of my way. Okay. Just showing where I'm improving the half-life here, changing a GC to a GU. It's a little blurry, sorry about that. I'm still perfecting that, but it did improve the half-life here. Take it out of full screen.
Quick escape.
Okay, I need to click like 3 times to get to the next for the future. Okay. It's not working. Just need to move this screen over. Okay. Sorry about that. RNA base A seems to be the most degradable, as Arnuv was saying. Mutating A to G or A to C or U is a good way to improve half-life. This is true particularly in loops. Here's a quick demonstration of that. An example of increasing half-life and then fixing violations. To keep clicking the amino letter to shuffle through all the possible codon sequences. You may also manually click bases adjacent to the violated bases to try and make it conform. Here's a quick demonstration of that. The half-life is at 0.444. Mutated that and I got a violation. You just go over there and click the red letter, you find it, and then it'll shuffle through the different combinations. And here we're able to find, by keep clicking on it, it's shuffling through different ones. We end up with a good half-life, a better half-life. Here, I'm using the amino letters to shuffle codons in a specific area to increase the half-life. Here's a quick demonstration of that. I'm moving everything where I can see it and work better. I'm finding the spot, and I'll show later how you can find your letter real easy. It's a tip by Eli. So that's improving the half-life there. Just trying a different combination of codons. Closing loops by adding pairs can sometimes increase the half-life metric. Here's the demonstration. It's just the end loop closing, mutating C to U. And we have an improvement in that metric. You can check the metrics just hovering over the half-life. Here I'm showing the current reading for the length of stacks to hairpins metric and demonstrating how to shorten the length of stacks to hairpins by mutating a base to make a 1-1 loop. Improving this metric will hurt the 1/2 score. So when doing this, try to make mutations that is less destructive to the 1/2 metric, like A to U, for example. And here's a quick demonstration of that. Here's the metric. It's 24 pairs long. And we're going to try to shorten that by putting in a 1-1 loop here. It's best to mutate to like a U or something to not hurt the half-life as much as what I try to do when improving this particular metric. And here we have an improvement. 17 pairs. So now I'll probably go around and look for the 17 pair one and shorten that one some. Perhaps. Experimental data has shown that the first 14 nucleotides of the mRNA sequence needs to be unpaired to initiate the codon reading process properly. The energy level of the first 14 nucleotides is best at 0. Here I have improved the metric with one mutation. Mutating bases close to the first 14 nucleotides will also affect the energy reading. jnicol created this tool for the COVID-19 labs, and here's a quick demonstration of that. There's the metric for it. It's at 2.9. This mutation here improves that. So that's one way of improving that particular metric. Next. Are there any questions or comments from anyone? Maybe perhaps someone has a strategy they would like to share right now. If someone could field my questions, if there's any. We will have a question and answer at the end of the whole presentation, so I will move on.
No, wait, Viju has a question.
Okay.
He said, how do you identify regions to try these strategies?
How do you find a region? How do you like find the letter or?
Yeah, like he said, how do you identify regions to try these strategies?
Well, just practice mostly and seeing what other players have done and figured out, and checking the forums and checking the designs and seeing what metrics they have done and things like that is a good way. Also,
like it's more of like a trial and error thing, like but like I put spots to check. So like he said where in the puzzle, like I put a spots to check. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So like, but to be honest, the labs are mostly just a trial and error, just shifting through hours trying to just find mutations that will increase half-life. So Boris asked, so is the open 14 basis still a relevant strategy based on the data published so far? Well, Bob also put an excellent answer. Look for bulge and hairpin loops. Definitely.
Indeed.
I mean, like, I think after the results come out, we might find more information on that course. Maybe Astromon switch back to the Q&A slide.
Okay. Do you not see it?
No, yeah, it's just a bit laggy. I think it'll come back. Does anybody have any more questions?
Okay. We'll continue. OpenVaccine jnicol's amino letter booster script guide. jnicol's codon booster was crucial for meaningful progress, but was also a big departure from anything that had been done previously. jnicol's amino letter booster script is an important tool for mRNA vaccines, such as the COVID-19. It is on the left side of the Eterna game screen. Sometimes the amino chart and letters buttons are covering the RNA puzzle you need to see. You can hide the chart and move the buttons and letters where you wish to. Hover over the letters to highlight the codons. Click the letter to shuffle through each codon's possible configurations. Click, click, click. You can shuffle specific codons by marking 2 bases in a sequence. Then clicking the shuffle button, the tool will shuffle the codons between your base markings. Look at the metrics by hovering over the 1/2 life box with each shuffle to find perhaps better metrics or a different shape you like to try to improve the metrics. The 4 marking function, simply mark 2 stretches instead of 1 and then do a reshuffle until you get a pairing between the regions. To find a letter in a region you wish to see, you can make a violation in the area and find the letter as it turns red when violated. Click the letter multiple times to shuffle through codon sequences. Amino letters on regions that hints that they may need improvement and where I can't find to do it by base. But the whole codon has to be changed like a single base region or for codons that have 2 or more changeable bases. Single base regions can be hairpin loops, internal loops, etc. That was Eli's tip. I wish there was a function akin to the script to jump to base. That's a wish for the codons. That's a wish for Eli, a new tool. And speaking of that, these tools are critical for our lab projects. Future tools will strengthen our ability to make a difference in RNA science. Eterna has GitHub and other resources for players to help working on coding projects. Send a PM to L6 if you're interested in making tools or want to help with coding projects. This is a list of scripts that I use. In the picture here, these are my scripts that I use. And this is a good way to learn how to load them, find them, load them, and use them. A great guide to finding, loading, using scripts. Use .tools in Eterna chat to generate the link to it. Courtesy linkbot, created and maintained by Hoglahu. So go into Eterna chat, type .tools, and then you'll have a step-by-step instructions for using scripts in labs and puzzles. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and skip questions. We'll have questions at the end. And I'll go ahead and hand this off to Arnuv. Thank you, Arnuv.
All right. I think you should, yeah, okay. Screen. So now I'm going to talk about some designs, robots or computer. Oh. So now I'm going to talk about some designs robots or computers have made for OpenVaccine. So I feel this is very important because these designs are very different from what we are used to seeing. So the robot designs are created by computers in the DAS lab and are made when computers generate the designs. They are very diverse and different from the top designs, which I've said before, are really based off the same starter. So as we said before, Nimblierboard's designs are very different from the leaderboard placers. Here's how different they really are. So these pictures are from a doc that Amy Birch made and shared in the forum. So the design on the left is one of Eli's Nimblierboard's design. So Nimblierboard is the name of a group of robot designs. So the design on the left, JRC81, is very closely related to the top Half-Life designs. As you can see, Nimblierboard is way different from this round's top designs, which are descendants of Hannah's earlier superfolder design. Just for reference, this is Hannah's earlier superfolder design, which I could not fit on the other page. You can see how different it is with the top designs and how different it is from the Nimblierboard designs. So there are multiple types of Nimblr-Vorse designs created so far. So all of these are present in both labs except for Nimblr-Vorse 1500, 750, and 500. So I'm not going to read them out loud. Here's the list of all of them. So the Nimblr-Vorse is not the only robot designs computer have made. So here are a list of other robot designs. So we have first Linear Design Infinity, which is only present in the Pseudorian lab. Then we have Linear Design Beam 1000, which is only in the non-modified Spike lab. We have Ribotree Fold Seed 1, which is only in the Pseudorian lab. And then we have Nimble Solutions 1 and 2, which are in both labs. There should be a green part of the key, but it got cut off from my view. All right. And 6, 7, 8, Nimble Solution 3, 4, and 5 are only in the non-modified Spike lab. And CDS Fold No Constraints is also only in the non-modified Spike lab. So these are Pseudorian robot design clusters. The darker and greener, score is highlighted, the better half-life it has. CDS Fold also got cut off at the end. Sorry about that.
There's my design.
So these are the non-modified Spike Lab robot design clusters. So far, only a handful of us have contributed, but any of you can help by improving these designs. Okay. So does anybody have any questions about the robot designs? Oh, the name is based off of the college graduate in Reju's lab who came up with the designs.
Arboretum.
Does anybody have any other questions? Where's the spreadsheet for the robot designs? I believe I posted that in the lab comments, and they're also posted in the forum in OpenVaccine rounds and discussion. If you don't have it, I can give it to you. Oh dear, so many questions. Okay. Do you know if they're outside of the pool of designs to be voted on? I don't really understand your wording there, Signwolf. Okay, like, okay. Do you know if they're outside of the, like, I'm a little confused about the wording. What do you mean? Okay, I'll come back to that one. Did you look at any Ribotree designs would have been? Yeah, I've put them on the cluster. Yeah. Hey, Signwolf, what did you mean by they're outside the pool of designs? They're just like normal designs. I mean, they're just made by robots. I mean, you can still vote on them. Are these designs to be voted on like player submitted designs? Yeah, yeah. Like, as I said before, they're just normal designs, except their startup was different from what from what usually like players created. It's just different that the robots created it, and then the rest of us just improved it. Okay, I'm just gonna wait a few seconds for any other questions to filter in. Okay, I think I will move on. Okay, wait, let's see. How do you get from the original shape to something workable? Well, I mean, shape doesn't really matter, like there it's workable. Any other? Like all we've done from the original shapes is just improve their half-life. I mean, we haven't really done anything other, like we haven't manipulated anything else really. Okay, I think I will move on. So the last thing I'm going to talk about is the current state of the current labs, just a general review. So the Pseudorine lab is still going strong with half-life, still making new records, the current topper being Eli's 0.5511. There are about 580 Pseudorine lab designs. Voting is still relatively low, but that will change closer to the deadline of the lab. The recent submitted designs are mostly nimbler bores mixed with the few designs that make half-life records and quite a bit of Wookiee tank designs. Half-life looks like it can still go higher with the help of EFOL. So the peak of the non-modified spike lab has seemed to pass and new designs are much rarer. However, the lab has been going on for much longer than the Pseudorine lab, so I'm not very surprised that it seemed to finish earlier. There are also about 580 non-modified spike lab designs. The half-life topper is 0.3488 and has remained that way for quite a while. The most recent submitted designs are also nimbler bores, along with a few high half-life designs, and again, quite a bit of Wookiee tank designs. Voting is still relatively low, but that will also change closer to the deadline. So now that you know the ins and outs of OpenVaccine and you haven't already, dig into both labs at OpenVaccine and make the labs have a strong finish. We'll see you there. And now we're just gonna have a general Q&A. Questions don't have to relate specifically to what was covered in the presentation. Rather, they can be anything that relates to OpenVaccine. So any questions?
Questions or comments?
No, Reju says, well, that non-modified winner looks so complicated. To be honest, in target mode, pretty much everything looks the same. Astro, looks like you have a question. I think she is asking which of your scripts are the most helpful in labs, I think.
Well, it depends which lab. The mutation booster was the best one for CRISPR, definitely, with 4,000 plus submissions, whatever. But it also works good with the mRNA lab, the nano, the nano ones. It was good for those.
I think she's asking what is the most helpful in OpenVaccine.
Okay, yeah, kind of getting to that. It was good for those, but I needed someone to modify the mutation booster script to work only with IUC pack constraints, so it only checks those. Because the other way it just takes too long. It was checking every base. And Master Stormer made that for me. So that has been great. The only thing is that doesn't work in the COVID lab because it's too many bases and someone needs to modify it for that to work.
Regis questions, are there players coming to the Open Vaccine Labs who are new in 2020? The answer to that is me. Like, I'm one of those players. I don't know of anybody else.
What was the question again? I wish I could see the question.
No, like he was saying, are there any 2021 new players who are participating in the Open Vaccine Labs?
Yes, there is.
Also Indole Scroll.
Yeah, but there seems to be a lot. And Starry Jess just got on the letterboard, and I was just showing her how to do labs last week.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we have a lot of new labbers. It's looking good. We want more though.
Yeah. I mean, even though it's only like 6 days until like since the lab designs get picked, any help is welcome. So yeah.
Plenty of time to improve things. I'm going to be looking for new designs.